Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something that I know is a huge deal for a lot of people: how to actually make meditation work when you have an ADHD brain. We're going to look at some really practical, science-backed techniques that are designed not to fight against that wandering mind, but to work with it. So let's just get right into it. If you have ADHD, has anyone ever told you, just try meditation? And did the idea of sitting perfectly still and, clearing your mind feel less like helpful advice and more like a totally impossible battle against your own brain? I mean, think about it. Restlessness, your attention jumping all over the place, a mind that just loves to wander. These are the core traits of ADHD, and they're pretty much the exact opposite of what traditional meditation asks of you. It's a super common frustration, but here's the good news. Research shows that if you just change the approach, meditation can become a seriously powerful tool for managing these very symptoms. So you might be thinking, okay, but why even try? Why bother? Well, because there's a ton of science now that suggests mindfulness can literally change your brain in ways that directly help with ADHD. We're talking about strengthening the very brain circuits that are often a challenge. And when you look at the research, it's pretty incredible. The benefits line up almost perfectly with the core challenges of ADHD. Studies are showing that the right kind of mindfulness training can strengthen your ability to regulate attention. It can improve executive functions, stuff like planning and organizing. It can help you manage emotional impulses. And yes, it can actually reduce mind wandering. Okay, so let's get a little geeky for a second and see what's happening under the hood. There's this key player in the brain called the default mode network, or the DMN. The easiest way to think about it is as your brain's daydreaming or mind-wandering circuit. And in the ADHD brain, this network tends to be, well, overactive. So how do we work with that? Well, this is where mindfulness really shines. You can think of it as a workout for your brain. It actively helps deactivate that DMN, kind of turns down the volume on the mind-wandering. And at the exact same time, it strengthens the parts of your brain responsible for focus and self-control. You're literally retraining your brain. And this brings us to probably the single most important idea in this whole explainer. The secret isn't to force a restless brain to be still. No, that's a recipe for frustration. The secret is to adapt the practice so it works with your brain's natural tendencies, not against them. And hey, this isn't just a nice theory. Researchers have already figured this out. They've developed specific programs, like this one called MAPS, which stands for Mindful Awareness Practices. And what they did was fundamentally redesign traditional meditation to be ADHD-friendly right from the start. And just look at the difference here. It's like night and day. A traditional program might ask for a 45-minute sitting meditation. The adapted version for ADHD, it starts with sessions as short as 5 to 15 minutes. It focuses less on just sitting still and more on informal, active exercises you can do during your day. It even encourages walking meditation. Okay, so theory's great, but what can you actually do? Let's open up the toolkit. We're going to look at 3 concrete adapted techniques that researchers and meditators have found work really, really well for the ADHD brain. First up is a breathing technique from yoga called Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. What makes this so amazing is that it gives you a physical, tangible anchor for your attention. It's not just watching your breath, it's an action. The structured physical nature of this is everything. You're giving your hand a job to do. You're focusing on the very distinct feeling of air moving through one nostril, then the other. It gives that wandering mind something super concrete to latch onto, which is so much easier than trying to focus on something abstract. All right, technique number 2. Let's switch gears completely and use a different sense as our anchor, our sight. This is all based on a really cool connection between our eyes and our thoughts. It's called Tritaka, or fixed gaze meditation, and the principle behind it is brilliant. You know how our eyes are constantly making these tiny, restless movements as our mind flits from thought to thought? Well, since the eyes and mind are so connected, if you can consciously make your gaze still, it helps to still your thoughts. And it's so straightforward to do. You just gaze gently at a single point. A candle flame is classic, but a dot on the wall works great too. By giving your eyes this one simple, steady job, you're basically telling your brain, hey, you can take a break from scanning everything for a minute, and that can be unbelievably calming and focusing. And finally, what if sitting still is just the absolute biggest hurdle for you? Good news. Meditation does not have to be stationary. Mindful walking is a fantastic alternative. It gives you an outlet for that physical restlessness while still training your mind to focus on the present. the feeling of your feet on the ground, the air on your skin, you name it. So, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. You have to completely reframe the goal. The point is not to achieve some mythical state of an empty mind. That's not it. The real goal, the real practice, is simply returning your attention to an anchor over and over again. And that anchor can be whatever works for you. It can be the structured feeling of alternate nostril breathing. It can be the steady point of your gaze. It can be the feeling of your feet hitting the pavement. Every single time your mind wanders off, and it will, that's what minds do, and you gently guide it back. That is the success. That's the rep that strengthens your focus muscle. So forget trying to achieve perfect, uninterrupted stillness. The real power, the actual change, it happens in that gentle, compassionate, and repeated practice of just coming back, one moment at a time.